Hello again. This is Will Luden, your host with Revolution 2.0, a revolution of the heart. Bringing you this week's episode, which is the sounds of ignorance, with apologies to Simon and Garfunkel. And together we are at episode 387. In our 10 minutes today, our 10 minutes with Will Luden, we are focusing on the jarring sounds of ignorance in our society, all over our society, political, economic, and other discussions with our major political leaders, lots of the media, and many so-called influencers, all the way down to what I consider the bottom of the pile, the anonymous cowards on Twitter, throwing around cliches and making claims only occasionally laced with partial truths. And this raging ignorance is what is substituting for rational discourse today. Rational discourse where there are real facts bolstered by reasoned arguments. And this issue, not the alleged voter fraud, which both sides are alleging. The alleged voter fraud is not the threat to our democracy. This is. The sounds of ignorance are the threat to our democracy. Let's start with an example that's much in the news today. CRT, critical race theory. There are people who say that if you don't teach critical race theory, you're distorting history. And there are people who say if you do teach critical race history, you're distorting history. But neither side really has much knowledge of American history to go behind it. What they're doing is they're taking a few claims and rare tidbits of facts and making their case. Very few on either side have sufficient knowledge of history to even begin having an intelligent discussion, and even fewer take the time to put the facts, should they have any, into a useful, coherent argument. Think back to any time that you might have heard CRT or the 1619 Project being discussed in the media, pro or con, with anything more than cliches and claims and occasional partial truth. That's what's going on. Here's a quote that a lot of you are familiar with. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. George Santayana, noted writer and philosopher. Another quote. Those who do not know history are condemned to stand by as their country is destroyed by those who make it up for their own benefit. Will Luden, podcaster. That's what's going on today. People are making up history for their own benefit. With apologies to Simon and Garfunkel, as I mentioned earlier, and their mega hit Sounds of Silence, Paul Simon wrote the song quietly referring to the social isolation where people were feeling even 60 years ago. Today's version, The Sounds of Ignorance, loudly refers to us in our country becoming more and more ignorant of history, of the core facts pertaining to any key issues, unwilling to listen and learn, unable to reason. Along with the 1619 Project, CRT loudly and often makes the claim that race and oppression, with whites being the oppressors and persons of color being the oppressed, was the desired goal of the founders. They're saying that race oppression, slavery in particular, was the desired goal of the founders. And that's utter nonsense. And played a vital part in the creation of wealth and power in the United States. Also nonsense. And is still with us, is still flowering, is still systemic in the United States, and is preserved in our culture, legal and political and business systems, and that America must be torn down and radically reconstructed if we are to be rid of the scourge of race and oppression. One of our responsibilities as citizens is to understand enough of American and world history to make sense of the political statements and claims that are tossed about every day. To start, let's go back to the Constitution Convention of 1787. But wait, Will, didn't we win the war with the defeat of Cornwallis in 1781? Why wait 6 years to have a constitution. Well, we had the Articles of Confederation, which governed our country, but it was a loose confederation. No central power, no central military, no central anything. It was often called a League of Friendship. Basically, 13 states calling themselves friends. No core strength, no central military, no central financial, no power. Here's a pause for a quick question. We're talking about knowing history in order to be able to make sense of what's going on today. What percentage of voters, not what percentage of the population, what percentage of voters do you think could accurately answer the question, in what year was the Declaration of Independence signed? I'll go on further. What percentage of voters, again, not what percentage of the population, what percentage of voters do you think could get the question right if they were asked, who did we fight to gain our independence? It soon became apparent this loose confederation, the Articles of Confederation, need to be tossed out. It was a disaster for 6 years. So in September of 1787, we signed a new constitution. And this is the same constitution that we have today, along with its 27 amendments. Yes, and I'm going to read this, get it exactly right. Yes, the very same constitution that allowed for the continuation of slavery and the disenfranchisement of women and unpropertied men. Blacks couldn't vote, women couldn't vote, and if you were white male and didn't own property, you couldn't vote either. The purpose of the new Constitution is found in the preamble, and this I'm going to read word for word. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, a union a whole lot better than the Articles of the Confederation, obviously, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and posterity. That's us. Do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America. There would have been no union if the abolitionists of those days and those supporting women's suffrage had insisted on abolishing slavery and enfranchising women. Any number of the slaveholding states could have blocked the Constitution just on the slavery issue alone. And with no union, there would have been no centralized political, financial, and military action. What force, what political and financial military force would have squared off against the slaveholding states? Nothing would have happened under the Articles of Confederation. It took the Constitution that we have today, which indeed allowed slavery, to form that powerful union. The southern states would not have needed to secede from the Union. There would have been no union from which to secede in the first place. They could have just kept right on owning slaves. What entity would have existed to oppose them when the time was right 80 years later? What entity? In June of 1919, 19th Amendment, the slavery was abolished. In June of 1919, the 19th Amendment allowed for women to vote. And today, this is so key, today, due to continuing legal and moral progress, we are all equal under the law. All of us today are equal under the law. This analysis, this process whereby it's so clear that we had to have the Constitution, which did allow slavery, in order to form the powerful union which would eventually defeat slavery. This analysis could have been done by anybody. No one liked the process. I don't like the process, but it was a necessary process. So this question is, why are many parts of the media and some politicians working so hard to convince Americans of the inherently evil nature of our country today? Why? Why are they doing that when they can see what you and I can see? The answer is pretty clear. They're angry and embarrassed at how free, prosperous, and powerful America has become. As part of their reducing inequity campaign, which they always seems to focus on tearing down the top rather than building up the bottom, they want America to repent, to reduce inequity by tearing itself down and falsely portraying America as racist and inherently evil. And by portraying America as falsely as inherently racist and evil, it gives that agenda a good start. Now, I want to define equity for a second. Equity is tossed around a lot. And the vast majority of the time, and the vast majority of the people who say equity mean equal outcomes. That's absurd. It's wrong and can't happen. If it could happen, it's wrong. But it can't happen. What we have and what we need to focus on is equal opportunity. Equal opportunity, not equal results. We become too uneducated to have an accurate fact base and too lazy to develop reasoned arguments. We grab on to cliches, a partial truth, or any claim that fits our beliefs and simply go with it. If that soundbite that we've grabbed onto doesn't seem to be winning the day, then we just say the same thing more loudly. And if we're online, we type in all caps, somehow thinking that that's going to win the day. And I picture picture with me, 2 rows of televisions facing each other. One row of televisions broadcasting a message, the other facing row of televisions broadcasting a counter message. And since the television, this row isn't convincing that row and that row isn't convincing this row, they raise the volume and raise the volume and raise the volume. And neither sets of TVs can hear, neither sets of TVs can listen. So they just keep raising the volume and creating to the maximum and creating the sounds of ignorance. And that's exactly, and that's Max. Max loves it. We have a guy who's becoming our friend, Steve Cruz, here helping out with some repairs that I don't know how to do. And Max is just saying hello. So there's Max, a little over a year and a half old standard poodle, dear friend, and occasionally barks when he shouldn't. So those TVs, those rows of TVs, that's the symbolism of the sounds of ignorance that are overwhelming our society today. It is time to completely reverse this trend. We need to know history, learn why things happened, learn how history is affecting us today, get involved, make a well-informed difference. Or those who make up history as they go along will simply win the day. If we don't know our history, act on it, and make an informed difference, the people who are making up history as they go along will win the day. We all have the personal responsibility to know our history, be able to express that knowledge in a way that makes a difference today. We have that personal responsibility. And speaking of personal responsibility, that's only part of what we need to do. Personal responsibility is one of the 2 main tenets of Revolution 2.0. Number 1 is personal responsibility, take it, teach it. And 2, be your brother's keeper. The answer to the age-old question, am I my brother's keeper, is a ringing, resounding yes. There can be no other answer. So where do you stand? What are you going to do? Remember, it doesn't matter where you stand if you're not going to do anything. And you can take positive, effective action today by subscribing, encouraging others to subscribe with you. And hello, Max. And Max, you might want to subscribe yourself. Subscribe, encourage others to subscribe with you. If you're on YouTube, ring that bell and give us a like and give us a like. And whatever you do, do it in love. Please do it in love. Because without love, anything we do is empty. And this is Will Luden and Max. We'll talk to you again soon.
You've been listening to Revolution 2.0. If you've enjoyed this stimulating, passionate, and relentless reasoning, we encourage you to get out there and do something. Follow Will Luden and learn more at revolution2-0.org.